This is Boxing Tickets NI. We're here at Celtic Warriors Gym and delighted to be joined with the main man, Ray Moylette. I was just saying to you, Ray, off camera, obviously, I think the last time I was down here was obviously for a media day nearly 2 years ago, well, about a year and a half ago now, but you're back in action just over 2 weeks' time, headlining. Tell me what the card name was again. It must have been something you come up with.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West. It's a story, an old western. There's going to be a shootout again in the West on St. Patrick's night. So, you know, this is Platform Promotions' first promotion, first show in Ireland, and they're going to build it as a story. And this is Once Upon a Time in the West. And when people talk about this night, there's a lot of big stuff happening in the pipeline. Hopefully it'll all come out in the next couple of days. But you know, my fight, top of the bill and all that. Then the Spike O'Sullivan, Thomas Carty, Craig O'Brien, Daniel Sullivan, great fighters on here. But there's still a big name to be added and still a story to be told.
I think I know of a big name, and I'm not going to obviously mention it in some ways, but what obviously a weekend is going to be for Packy. Obviously he's got Cathal Crowley obviously on the night before in Galway, and then obviously all you lot in the Royal Theatre. Is that on the Sunday night?
Yeah, you can see the gym is buzzing here. Reese Moore is on with Cathal Crowley on the night before in Galway. Alan Babbage, he's on a couple of days before it as well, on a big card, on a big Sky Sports card. So, like, the gym is buzzing at the minute. You know, we've Johnny Walker in the UFC as well. So, you know, there's a lot of talent around the gym, and there's great sparring every day. Like, we all stand around the rinks watching the spars now, because they're world-class spars, they're world-class fighters in the gym now. So, it's a pleasure to be part of it, and a pleasure to be part of. You know, Packy has built this, but like we're all part of it now. So we're all just like a big family now. So we still get caught for the odd lunch. Who has to pay for it? But we're not that well off yet. We still have to pay for our own lunch.
Packy was saying there that he was caught for lunch. I think 7 of these. He says he thought people had learned a lesson and he might get away with it, but he's saying 7 he's caught for lunch. So I think the gym's open 24/7 for the next 3 months.
Well, I tell you what, I'm here 7 years. That's the first time I got lunch off Packy. So he got caught for 7, but I've been caught for 7 years.
I guess obviously for you, obviously the card sort of labelled One Last Dance. Is this obviously a retirement fight for you, or obviously is it just one last dance, one last go at it?
Well, it's labelled as my retirement fight, just because I was beginning to go stale. I was on the shelf, I wasn't getting any opportunity, there was no fights coming. I wasn't interested in fighting journeymen, trying to build my career anymore. I didn't have the financial backing either, you know, to go trying to build up again. So I needed to get big fights, but the big fights weren't coming. No, any of the big fighters, we did get 1 or 2 offers, but very little notice, and it was a set-up job, you know, and I couldn't sell out, and I couldn't contemplate taking a fight just for the money and just leaving it at that. It wasn't for me. So we sat down with Packy and Thomas Carty and his management team, Platform, and they said they're going to promote a show with us in Castlebar to give me one last shot. And look, I'm selling it as the last show, and if it is the last show, I'm going to go out with my head held high, and at least I know I've done everything in my power, and I made this happen. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in 10 years' time not going to be sitting at the bar saying, oh, I never got the fight, or I should have done this, or at least when it's all done and dusted, I'm responsible for it. And you know, the phone has been ringing, believe it or not, since we announced we're retiring. Packy's got 1 or 2 offers there for big fights, and like I'm saying, where were these offers a year or 2 ago when I needed them? It's already coming to me now. When, you know, it's already closing the gate when the horse is bolted. Like, so look, and I don't know at the minute. This is my last fight, and this is all I can commit to now. I don't know what the future holds, but if this is it, I'm going to make sure it's I go out with a bang and go out with my head held high. And at the end of the day, when I look back on my boxing career, I know I've given everything, I've done everything in my power.
I guess it's like anything. Sometimes it's, you know, I know Tyrone McKenna obviously said he was retiring in the last year. It looks like he might be coming back again now in 2024. When boxing's been your life for so long, sometimes it's hard to go, nah, that's it, you know, what do you do after boxing? But as I say, you get obviously your home show in Mayo out of the way, and then see what offers and things are about there, because, you know, a nice fitting sort of way to end, obviously fighting to get it home. I think the last one you had at home didn't go your way, 2018. Yeah. So obviously it'd be great to get a win. Obviously show the ones that maybe didn't get all your fights, that they can sort of say their farewell if that's going to be the farewell for you.
And yeah, that's it. Like I've done a lot for boxing in my whole life, for myself, and you know, for Mayo as well. And I've done a lot for the community as well. You know, working with different charities and pushing and trying to raise money. And and trying to help out as best I could. You know, so it'd be nice just to finish it in my own town, with my own people around me, and from people to come and support me as well. You know, this boxing has been very good to me over the years, and it's been torture over years too. So I just want to be able to, when it's all said and done, because there was a point there over the last couple of years when nothing's been happening, things weren't going my way, and I was very disappointed, and I was upset with the way my career had went and what was at stake and the way it was left, and it was very frustrating. You know, I would have lashed out a few times with it and been very uncomfortable to live with it at home and stuff like that, and I don't want that. I have 2 young kids at home now and a wife, and I don't want to be miserable around the house. I don't want to be blaming something else, whereas at least I'm in charge of this now, and if this is my last fight, at least I'll hold my hand up, and if I do something, I'll always stand by it. And I'm not going to blame anyone. But if something does come off it, well then good and well, let something come off it, but that's going to be my choice, because at the minute I have no choice. So I've made the choice to make this my last fight, to get a big fight, to get a good performance, to get a good following, and then whatever happens after that then is out of my control for now.
How's your missus obviously enjoying selling the tickets? Is she enjoying that part of it, or did you give her that job and she's sort of slating you every night for it?
She's you know, she's a former retail manager, and she manages me for the last 16 years. No, she's well in control, and she wanted to do that, but it's different now. In 2018 it was just looking after tickets. Now she's looking after 2 kids, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and trying to look after tickets as well.
And look after you as well.
Look after me as well. Well, not too bad. I'm in Dublin a lot now lately, so she's lucky enough there. But things are different for us all, you know. But she's well in control, she's well organised, and you know, I can't look after the tickets, I can't look after the finances of it, can't look after meeting people. I'm just too busy trying to get myself in shape and to be able to put on a good show. But thankfully she's there to help me, and you know, she's 1 or 2 people there that helping her as well. So it's a team effort. Like Thomas Carty, Spike, Daniel, Craig, we're all going to have to sell tickets. You know what I mean? This is an event. This is not about me. This is not about any individual. This is about a whole collective platform of come to Ireland to try and promote a couple of shows in Ireland for the next couple of years, trying to build their brand. You know, so there's a lot of advantages to be taken from this, and a lot of positives to be taken from it. And I'm glad to be part of it, and that's all. I'm only part of it. I may be the main event, I may not. It doesn't matter. My name is there. It might be my last fight, it may not, but at least I'm part of this, and hopefully boxing in Ireland has transitioned, and it's improved. A lot more shows lately, the quality has improved, the backing has improved, you know, so people now are beginning to talk about Irish fights and different things like that. So I'm glad that this is all happening before I left it behind.
Just sort of throw a curveball in there. Obviously, we know Katie Taylor's going to fight on the 25th of May. Would that be the ideal sort of farewell for you, I guess? Everybody's obviously looking for shots on the cards and everything else, but we know obviously the history with you and Katie in the amateur and everything else. Would that be a fitting farewell? Is it maybe just a case of somebody goes on to Eddie Hearn and says, give Ray Moylette obviously the farewell he sort of deserves in the sport?
Yeah, I'd tell you the truth, I don't think Katie'd fight me.
I think she wouldn't fight you.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't fight her. Look, Katie Taylor is an ambassador and a role model for myself. Never mind for any young kids growing up. I look up to her with so much love. That I've known her in the olden days. Let's say back in the high performance, we used to spar each other. We used to bunk together. We used to room together. We used to travel together. We used to be giving out about the whole system together for a while. You know, she's been very good, and she's very. I could hold my hand up here, and Kate Taylor is one of the nicest people I've ever met. And she's, on top of that, she's a serious boxer, and she's a role model for kids. Everything she does it turns to gold. You know, no matter what she does, she's just unbelievable talent. Would I love to fight on that card? Of course I would, but I can't say that's I'm going to fight there, because I'm not in control of any of that. And I would tell you the truth, I was waiting for the 2 fights. I was hoping I'd get a call to get up, and that never happened. So nothing going to change now. So I can't sit at home and wait for this phone call to come. So I'm just trying to make my own moves, and if it comes, you know, I couldn't refuse that opportunity. But I can't hold my breath waiting for it either. But that would be a fitting end, or it could be the start. You wouldn't know any. Like, that's the thing about boxing. But I can't even look that far ahead, because I've lost a couple of years there. Looking ahead and things not coming not coming to the top. So can't wait on that, but it would be a fitting fight for me. Would love to be part of it, but I can only look after myself now, and I need to get the win in Castlebar before I can think of anything.
And obviously, speaking of Castlebar, obviously your opponent was confirmed last night. You're going to fight former Walsh area champion Jake Tinkling. He obviously fought Senan Kelly there, obviously, was it last month, for obviously the BUA Celtic belt. Did you watch much of that fight? I believe obviously about 4 or 5 opponents have turned down obviously the fight with yourself. Have you watched much of Jake, or did you just sort of leave at the Pascal?
I watched a little bit of him. I didn't watch much of him. I tell you the truth, we contacted Senan Kelly before his fight with Jake Tinkling, and we said when he wins, we declared he was going to win. Would they fight us in Castlebar for the Celtic title and maybe the Irish title, so a double header? And they said they'd think about it. And then when Senan Kelly won the fight, and Pascal contacted Jay Byrne, his manager, and he just said, no, we've other plans, sorry, and they just moved on. Contacted Dylan Moran, contacted Declan Geraghty, contacted 1 or 2 more, and they've all other plans. So I'm not going to say anything bad against any of them, but I reached out to them all. I wanted to get a real fight in Castlebar in front. I wasn't going to go out fighting a journeyman. I wanted a real fight, a real Irish fight. If I could pick up an Irish title or a Celtic title along the way, that was a bonus. But I wanted a real fight, and they were guys I was looking for a real fight, and we couldn't get any of them over the line. I was offered 1 or 2 fights with them in the past, and they didn't suit me. So I'm not going to slate them over, but it would have been nice if we could have made something happen. All right, but not to be this time. So then Jake Tinkling was the next in line, and we're hoping we could get sanctioned for the Celtic title, albeit it'll be the welterweight title, so the weight above. But the BOI wouldn't sanction that. They said he wasn't eligible, even though he's probably more eligible than I am. But I can't say much about that. But that's above my pay grade, the rankings. So look, I can only fight who's in the ring. I can only dance with the girls that are in the room. So I can only fight the ones that we can get. And it's not like this is short notice. We approached these guys just after Christmas, so we gave them notice before we launched anything. So I'm just disappointed that none of them bit it. I'm an old man now. I'm on the slide. This is the opportunity to get me, and they didn't. So they missed up.
Well, look, obviously, I hope you enjoy obviously the next week or so at camp. Obviously, St Patrick's Day, obviously in Castlebar, is obviously sure to be a treat. You shared obviously a picture last week of the venue. I obviously never got the last time around, but obviously tell us obviously about the venue. Obviously, how special it's going to be for you on the night.
Oh, I have won a lot in my boxing career: world titles, European titles, Irish titles. I've travelled the world. My most successful night, and my most memorable night, and my favourite night of boxing of my whole life was in the TF back in 2018, and I lost the fight. But yet, it's the most memorable achievement that I have. The atmosphere in the room was so special, and not because they were all Castlebar people. They weren't. They were from all over. But it was just this. It's the TF Royal. It's a theatre built specifically. The acoustics are built specifically. It's tiered up. It's like it's a modern day York Hall, I guess, and it's just built for it. And the atmosphere is real fights, real passion, and a real entertaining night. So people are still talking about it, and I want them to talk about this. And if I can get them talking about this half as much as they're talking about 2018, well, then it's a success.
Well, listen, thanks very much for your time, and I'm sure we'll catch up in Fight Week.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you very much for all your coverage over.
No problem, Ray. Thank you.